In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what healthy masculine communication looks like. I'm also going to show you what it doesn't look like because when you pull away from communicating clearly or communicating at all, and worst off, ghosting a woman you're dating or in a new relationship with, it does something to the relationship. It not only causes conflict, maybe within yourself and other stuff in that woman, which I talk about in the video, but it can create a lot of things that are unnecessary that could possibly be prevented if you were willing to step into your healthy masculinity and do something different around how you communicate and how you relate to the woman you're with or the woman you're interested in. This video is from a live training that I gave. It's very real, raw, candid, practical advice and guidance. This video can really help you do something different, which can also foster a different bond in your relationship, in your romantic relationship. And these qualities and skills are transferable to business relationships, to platonic relationships. So without further ado, I'll let you drop into the video. If you like this video, press the thumb button. And if you have a comment or something came up for you and your thoughts around the conversation here, specifically in this video, please drop your comments below because I love having you engaged on the conversation. I love being in healthy debate and difficult conversation. So whether you agree with me or not, your thoughts are welcome here. Enjoy the video, and I'll see you soon. Ciao.
So if this is your first time and you happen to land on my page, welcome. I'm Joy Rochelle, and I'm an attraction empowerment coach for men. But you can see all that stuff on my page. Let's get to the nitty gritty of it. And I got a treat for you today because we're diving into what masculine communication looks like. And this is also something that's dear to my heart because I talk about it a lot in my content. If you've seen past videos, anything from like being passive as a man to what healthy masculinity is and what it looks like. So I have a little story for you. So let's say, let's set this up. You're dating a woman that you're interested in, and you've been dating her for a while, like well over 3 months, or if this is like say you're in a new relationship, you just jumped in committing to a woman and you're building a monogamous relationship, but it's still very, very new. And the relationship is awesome. It's not perfect, obviously, but there's polarity there. So there's really a lot of fun, playfulness in the masculine and feminine dynamic. You two have fun together. You actually have a few things in common, but some things you don't have in common, which is awesome because you start to learn new things about each other. And you're pulling her into what you're into. She's pulling you into some new things. You can talk about anything. And this woman is really feeling like deeply connected to you. The intimacy and the sex is off the charts. You know, she's everything you wanted, not just externally, but internally. And I'm not trying to frame a fairy tale for you because I know that definitely doesn't work for men. And one, it's not realistic and it's not something I even believe in. So I definitely feel just as a woman growing up, like watching like Disney, that it like it screwed us all up in so many different ways. So that's not the picture I'm painting here for you. But I'm just painting like you're having fun dating this woman. You're having fun building this relationship with this woman. And it's opposite from the relationships that you've been in with women in the past. And so, you're reflecting that back to her. You're like, yo, I love how, your feminine energy really supports me. I feel safe around you. I feel like I feel seen. I feel heard. And a lot of men do not feel like that in their relationships, in their romantic relationships, maybe even platonic. So this is a very new thing for you in a lot of different ways because let's say a lot of your past relationships were opposite of this in some way, shape, or form, which is fine because I feel like every relationship, whether it wasn't great or it was awesome, right? It helps to forward our growth and expansion, hopefully, at the end of the day, even if it didn't work out for the long haul or it wasn't what you envisioned, it still is going to help hopefully forward that woman that you were with and forward you into self-activating as the man that you want to be. And sometimes breakups and coming out of a relationship or coming out of dating someone can be really tough. But back to my example. So at the end of the day, you're having fun dating this woman. And you're having a great time and you're making effort, you're planning dates, you're going on little trips together, you're having FaceTime and phone time and sexy text and all this, and it's just going really well, and it feels fluid, it feels effortless in some ways, and you two also have had some truthful conversations. But then boom, one day something starts to shift, and maybe you can't even really make out what the shift is, right? And a lot of the shift can be anything, right? Look, think back to some relationships you've experienced that you were in with a woman and you felt there was a shift there. Even if it was just like not necessarily a shift that was directly affecting the relationship, but maybe a shift happened in your own life, like a career change or a change in your spiritual path, or you had never been spiritual and now you're embarking on that, or a change in something else. It can be anything, but there's a change within you that's happening and in your personal life, and it starts to affect the relationship because now you're feeling unsure about everything, maybe even a little insecure, overwhelmed, because you're trying to make out and make sense of what's happening, but you also know that this is going to affect the relationship in some way. And it may even hurt this woman. But these are stories you made up in your head and you actually really don't know. And you start to like stress yourself out about it because you're having this internal conflict around what's going on within you. And so you decide to play it safe and not really think about her. You think you're thinking about her by like, you know what, I'm having this shift, but I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to tell her what's coming up for me because I don't want to hurt her. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to cause any conflict. I want to avoid being in a uncomfortable situation and conversation with her possibly that this could lead to because I'm feeling the shift and it's going to directly affect my relationship with her. So say this is happening. So instead, you choose to slowly but surely pull away. This is a conscious choice in your head. Instead of expressing to her in some way, shape, or form what you're going through internally, you start to just pull away slowly but surely, chipping at it day by day, not texting as much. You stop calling. You're not taking her out on dates. You're only reaching out, not really with any real intention, and leaving maybe voice memos here and there, maybe checking in a little bit just to keep her still nudged in, right? Still invested in a little bit. But you know that there's some internal conflict that you're having, and whatever is coming up for you, whatever it is, may affect the relationship. But instead of telling her, you choose to keep pulling back, keep pulling your energy back. And I want to talk about this because I've heard this so many times from like girlfriends of mine and just talking about relationships. And women can do the same. how this happens when we have this internal conflict within ourselves, whether it's about the relationship directly or something we're experiencing in our life that we don't want to share because we're too afraid that it's going to hurt that person, because we don't want to lean into having a difficult conversation with them. And so we make up all these stories in our head, but at the end of the day, you're making it about you and you're protecting you. Because let's talk about when you pull back and don't say anything, or like leave little breadcrumbs just to stay a bit still connected to her, but not really say what's really going on. When you refuse to be honest and direct and communicate in that way, it's withholding. And withholding is a passive behavior. If you know anything about my content, you know I talk a lot about being a passive man and why that creates problems in romantic relationships and problems within yourself. Because usually men who are passive, they're holding a lot, and it could start to fester into resentment, bitterness, anger, maybe even depression, if they're constantly living their life like this. And it not only affects you, but say in this scenario, in this example I just gave you, it's deeply affecting the woman that you're choosing not to communicate with. And let me tell you why, right? One, it's not healthy. It's not a demonstration and an expression of you being in your healthy masculine energy. It's not really grounded in anything. And it's definitely not being a leader, which I know most men out there usually want to step into some form of leadership. It doesn't have to be in work, it can be in relationship. You just owning your life and choosing to own what is coming up for you and being able to express that unapologetically, not worried about if you're going to hurt someone. Because I'm not saying this to sound like a dick, but you're not responsible for that woman's feelings. That doesn't mean you can't tell her the truth and from a place of empathy, from a place of compassion. Hey, Rahita, Jakes, what's up? Welcome. Courtney, I love how you spell that. Um, and so it does you and the woman you're in relationship with such a disservice. It does everyone in the relationship a disservice. And it's the opposite of being masculine. And the reason, just in general, why communication is so important in romantic relationship and platonic business as well, is because it sets the foundation. It sets the foundation also for how the relationship can go and what it can be built on. And when you choose not to say anything, it's doing the relationship a disservice, and it's also creating a destabilization in the relationship. It's creating a disharmony, an imbalance. And it's going to have this woman now not trust you, not feel safe, but most of all, not respect you because you couldn't step up in your grounded masculine and be honest and be direct. And you can be firm. I mean, you can still be firm, honest, and direct without being an asshole. I truly believe that. I've witnessed men do it. And I always say, I would always prefer a man to be honest with me and tell me the truth, whether it's going to hurt or not. I respect him more. Even if it's like a conversation that's going to lead us to be apart from each other and like this is the end of the road for us. I still have so much respect and so much love for him because I know that it wasn't easy for him to probably come to this conversation, and he chose to love me enough and love himself enough to do it anyway, right? Not make all these stories in his head, not be withholding, not ghost or decide to breadcrumb his way out of a uncomfortable situation. No, he stepped up, and I'm going to talk about this. So I just want to make that point, that why this is a problem. It's not healthy, it's not masculine, It's not being a leader, and it's definitely not owning what's coming up for you and being truthful about it. Dragging her along, right? And not being and creating distance and pulling your energy back, it creates confusion because in the woman's mind, she's possibly questioning like what did I do wrong? Like this dynamic between us changed to like that overnight, it feels. She's thinking about like what happened, like what did I do wrong, is it me? Like she's like confused, why was he so hot and now it's completely going cold, or it's like lukewarm because he's trying to like put me in the friend zone without telling me he's putting me in the friend zone, right? It creates so much confusion for no reason other than the fact that you were being afraid and you're trying to protect, you think you're protecting the other person, but you're being selfish and you're protecting yourself. I'm going to keep it real. You're being selfish and you're protecting yourself, but in your mind, you think you're protecting that other person's heart and you're not, because sometimes love and being in romantic relationships, there are going to be uncomfortable moments, but that fosters the growth in the relationship. I guarantee you, I've experienced this so many times, how having those conversations, uncomfortable, tears included, ugly crying, really truthful words, still being respectful, it creates such a relief as well. And now there's clarity, because when you're honest and you're direct with someone you're in relationship with, you give a woman the opportunity to have something stable to respond to, right? Confusion, how is she going to respond? Her thoughts are probably spinning like, was he so hot for these amount of months and now he's cold? What happened? Why is he pulling back? Did I do something wrong? Right? And she's going through all this unnecessary drama in her head because you're choosing not to say anything. And then maybe she's going to end up stepping up in her masculinity and having to bring it up because she see that you're avoiding it, and that's being passive. It's the opposite of masculine. So what you can do instead is come grounded in your energy, step up in your masculinity, stop creating, leaving her breadcrumbs or just ghosting, which is a completely whole nother, I can do a whole nother topic on talk on that alone, and really show up to be like, yo, I'm something's happening. I'm going, this is coming up for me, and I'm experiencing X, Y, and Z. And I'm bringing this to you because I respect you, because I love you, because I want to be honest, I want to be truthful. And I love what we have here in this relationship. Just being honest, like you don't have to follow a template. Like listen to, or maybe even talk it through with a friend. Like if you have like a good guy friend that you trust, but this is going to help continue to foster the safetiness and the trust she felt with you, right? When you decide to ghost and just let it be confusing, it really destabilizes it, and it can really cause somebody's nervous system to go into like fight or flight mode. And like I said, you're not responsible for her feelings. If she's feeling that way, she knows that's coming up and she's in tune with her body, it's her responsibility to help settle that back down as well. But you're not helping the situation if you're causing that because you want to not step into being a man. Like, I'm going to keep it so real. So, what can you do instead? What does masculine communication look like? It looks like you willing to be honest and step into being a leader and being willing to have those uncomfortable conversations, regardless of what outcome you thought you made up in your head. Because what if it actually turns out better than what you thought it was going to be for everybody involved? Even if it's a little bit heartbreaking, even if it's a little bit uncomfortable, even if you witness her having to hold space for her crying, or you start crying or whatever, right? It's just like a breath of fresh air when two people can really come to this type of conversation. it can help to grow the love that this person has for you. And like I said, at the end of the day, if nothing else, she's going to be like, I respect that man. Regardless of what happened between us, I respect him because he was willing to be truthful. He even if he was scared, he was willing to like step into this conversation with me, step into the ickiness and the tension. And as you actually practice it, it may not even be as uncomfortable. It's like going to the gym, building muscle. When you're lifting weights, when you're strength training, I know personally it's uncomfortable in that moment, especially if you're upgrading to a new weight or if you're doing more reps or whatever. That's the point. That's create muscle growth. You tear down the muscle tissues so that they then can repair, get stronger and bigger. And it's the same thing in relationship. Yes, this conversation can possibly tear down, a lot of things, but it can also help to repair something. It can also help to build something. It can also help to create a closer bond. And I'm saying this to you, and I hope that it's landing on your heart as much as it is a big thing for me to talk about because I recently experienced this with somebody I was dating, and it was not fun and it did not feel good. And actually don't know if we would have had that conversation had I not brought it up, right? And that wasn't the intention of the reason why we weren't even on the phone together at this point, right? I just happened to say it because it was on my heart and it didn't feel good. Like I was in like a fog and like confused. And I don't think anyone deserves that if you're in a relationship with them. Like I said, it's not about being the perfect man. It never is. It's about progression. It's about you willing to step into the actions that could cause a little, like you're maybe afraid of, but you'll grow as a man. And I guarantee you it's going to lift that woman up. Because when you do the opposite, like, why would you be trustworthy? Why would she feel safe enough to continue the journey with you if you can't even step up and have an honest conversation? And instead you take the easy route and pull your energy away, or start being hot and cold, et cetera, et cetera. If you're just coming into the conversation now, you can watch the replay where I set up this this story and set up this situation so you can understand the point I'm trying to make about why masculine communication is so important. And like I said, it's not just important for you and it's going to help you develop as a man and develop and step and own your masculinity. It's going to help that woman. It's going to help build a strong foundation and a stronger bond in your relationship. And if you are interested, this is not directly related, but it can definitely support you if you're having issues with this. I have a free confidence audio training, and I'm going to drop it in the comments because confidence, in order to have confidence, you got to be a clear, healthy communicator. You got to be in your healthy masculinity. And so this is a confidence training. It's really like, 5 mistakes you could be making with women, which one I was talking about this evening, and what you can do instead so that you can own and step into your confidence when it comes to being in relationship with women, dating women. And you can use this in other types of dynamics of relationship. It doesn't have to be just with women. Like, yes, the audio training is framed around that, but you can take the work, implement it right away, and then you can also implement it in other areas in your life to help build your confidence. And one thing I strive for is like being truthful in my content. I'm not going to bullshit you, right? This is hard sometimes content for me to make because men want to shut it down sometimes when I put it out there on YouTube, but it's a conversation we get to have because it's going to help build relationships and more healthy masculines out there and healthier men we have out there. Hey, Richard, the better the world is, right? It's the world becomes a better place. And there is an agenda right now to keep having men and women butt heads and be against each other and be at war with each other in so many ways. And so conversations like this can help build us up and bring us back to not only self, the oneness and being connected to anybody, but it can help repair and build up healthy relationships. And so that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Look in the comments below and get that audio training. I'll drop it in the description above too, in the details about this call. Until next time, I'll see you on the next live. Ciao. If I decide to leave, actually. Ciao.